It was major news on Fox News when new emails surfaced on Benghazi showing that White House advisor Ben Rhodes helped Susan Rice prep for the Sunday talk shows by saying she should underscore that these protests are rooted in an internet video and not a broader failure of policy. But for most of the mainstream media, not so much. That led to this denunciation by Bill O'Reilly when I was on The Factor, and to some scoffing at MSNBC.
And that failure by the national press to tell the American people the truth about Benghazi is for one reason and one reason only: to protect President Barack Obama.
But sarcasm and apparently a sense of reason or proportion, all those things seem to have been lost on conspiracy-obsessed conservatives who have turned this email into the Watergate tapes.
Amy Holmes, I say the media are suffering from Benghazi allergy syndrome. They think the story is old, complicated, and the country's moved on. O'Reilly says the media are protecting Barack Obama. Where do you come down?
I have to say, on Mr. O'Reilly's side, and I agree, I was disappointed in you in drawing these conclusions. Look, the media had no problem following the Valerie Plame scandal, for example. Every detail, every moment of that scandal, none was too small for them to gorge themselves on it. So to say that this is too complicated, it's just been stretching out for 2 years.
I'm telling you how they think. But do you think that the editors get together and have meetings and say, you know what, this could really be damaging to the president. We need to play this down?
No, but I think that there is an internal bias where they judge something not to be newsworthy, and so they don't put it on the air. Whereas, in fact, I think the Ben Rhodes email, along with the State Department email that Cheryl Atkinson has uncovered and put on her website, indicate that the White House was involved, as well as the State Department, in trying to cover up the description of this event.
I think this is a really important story, but Mara, most of the mainstream media were slow to see this particular email as news.
They were slow, but they did finally cover it. Maybe they followed Fox's lead, but in the end, they did cover it because it was new. I think the mainstream media thinks, you know what? This is a story that we've heard about, but the Ben Rhodes email was a new development. They did cover it. I think it shows the White House was spinning, and I think the media, the non-Fox media, did finally come around and cover it.
Right. Well, there were a few exceptions. So walk us through what happened on Tuesday when the Judicial Watch obtained these documents.
So Catherine Herridge on Fox News was covering it all day long. That night, the networks, no coverage. The cable nets, no coverage. By the next morning, Wednesday morning, nothing in the New York Times, the LA Times, the Wall Street Journal, the Washington Post had it on A17. And then we started to see CBS This Morning also, very importantly, was one of the first networks. They covered it on Wednesday morning with Bill Plant, who came out with a very balanced piece saying this could be this or it could be that.
But the New York Times then, the next day, published published a two-day-old story. Right. I think a tacit admission that the initial judgment had been wrong. Let me move you to the Brett Baier interview that's kind of gone viral. He's talking to Tommy Vietor, former NSA spokesman, about the editing of the talking points. And, well, let's just take another look.
Did you also change attacks to demonstrations in the talking points?
Maybe. I don't really remember.
You don't remember?
Dude, this was like 2 years ago. We're still talking about the most mundane
it is the thing
process
that everybody is talking about.
Why is this guy so much?
Dude. Okay, come on, Tommy. Like, my 14-year-old son doesn't even say the word dude anymore. And second of all, props to Brett for coming right back at him and saying, dude, this is important. It spawned the hashtag on social media, hashtag dude. And I think that really what this shows, he comes on Fox News and then says he doesn't know and that it's a 2-year-old story when there's a brand new email.
Let me also play something from the White House briefing room, because I think what really elevated this story was Jay Carney fencing with reporters for CBS and CNN and ABC, as well as Fox's Ed Henry. Here's a brief look.
Do you need a copy of the CIA talking points? I can get
read them out all you want. Go ahead.
The only thing in that email that refers to Benghazi is a cut and paste from the talking points, which, much to your disappointment and your boss's disappointment, turned out to be produced by the CIA.
Is that an effective tactic of Carney to make this look like Fox partisanship?
Obviously not. Jonathan Karl of ABC went after Jay Carney for this absurd spin. Jake Tapper over at CNN said that it's insulting. It's insulting to the press and insulting to the public. But Howie, I remember when the job of the White House press secretary was described when Mike McCurry had it under very difficult circumstances with Bill Clinton and impeachment, was to serve both the public and the interest of truth as well as the White House, and that the press secretary has sort of two masters. Well, in this this case, it seems that Jay Carney doesn't understand the second element of his job, which is to serve the truth in the public.
Maura, there was also an email a couple days after the Benghazi attacks from Associated Press reporter Matthew Lee, writing to the State Department spokeswoman at the time, Victoria Nuland, and Fox News got mentioned. We can put it up on the screen. I know this is BS, but this is killing you guys. Been watching Fox News tonight, and the amount of mis- and disinformation is frankly shocking, even for an election year.
I think this is in a different category. This is not the White House bashing Fox. They have their own reasons and incentives to do that. This is a reporter who's a competitive guy who's given the State Department spokesman all sorts of grief over the years. You can't say he's a softie. Right. And he's competing. He's doing source management and source stroking. That's what I think it is.
That's what it is, buttering up the source. Now, AP spokesman told me that Matthew Lee was not criticizing Fox, but was criticizing a British newspaper report, which was cited on Fox.
And when it was dropped, Fox also dropped that. When the Independent took it down. Yeah.
Mara Elias and Amy Holmes, thanks very much for joining us this Sunday. Up next, the ESPN writer who blew the whistle on Donald Sterling's racism 8 years ago, and why the media looked the other way. And later, a new documentary on Jason Blair's fabrications with a cameo appearance by me.